Hey guys, it's Tim here, and today we're going to spend some time on my MK2 Jetta Coupe. Now, we're going to work on the silver one, which we haven't seen in a little while. It was the one that we fitted the Maxpeedingrods coilovers to. So first things first, we need to get the exhaust fitted to it. And when I get it back to the barn, we're going to fit an oil cooler. So let's get the Jetta loaded up onto the tow truck. Let's take it down to my mate's workshop. We'll put it on his ramp, and then we'll get that fitted and bring it back to the barn, and we can get that oil cooler fitted. Let's go. Now with the Jetta safely off the back of the truck, time to get it on the ramps, and this track slag fitted really easily. The only thing I would say with the Jetta ones is that you have to attach this this finishing piece to the tailpipe. Now we've just gone with a couple of spot welds just to hold it in place. I guess you could drill it, screw it, nut and bolt, whatever floats your boat, you know. But thankfully, Dean got the welder out, a couple of little spot welds, and it's good to go. Yeah. So with just a final bit of adjustment and tightening this clamp up to get the tailpipe in exactly the right position, it's all finished up and it's sitting on the car and it looks great. Which is more than can be said for this back bumper. It looks like it's obviously been melted by a previous exhaust. But there we have it. We've now got the 3-inch track slag system fitted to this car, and I'm really happy with how it looks and how it sounds. Now that we've got the exhaust on the coupe, it's time to load up this car for our mate Dean. So it's coming back to the workshop, it's going to live there so he can do some work on it up at the barn when we're in there. So we came down with the Jetta on the back of the tow truck to fit the exhaust, and now we're going back with a MK2 with no engine. So while we drive back to the workshop, let me tell you about today's video sponsor. So a big shout out to Maxpeedingrods for sponsoring this video today. Guys, check them out. They do everything from turbos to coilovers, even down to power steering pumps. And they're at a great price and they're really good quality. So as you know, we did the coilovers with them before, and I'm so pleased to say that they're back for another video. So there is a link in the description, and we've also got a discount code as well. So with the discount code MK2 Golf, you'll also get yourself 17% off. Now these orders include free shipping as well. So today we're going to look at fitting an oil cooler from Maxpeedingrods to our Jetta Coupe. What we've got in the box, obviously it's quite well packaged, as all Maxpeedingrod stuff is. So if we have a look down here, we've got the obviously we've got the cooler lines here, obviously with all the fixings on the end, and the nice blue and red anodized. We've then got just some other bits and pieces in here, obviously that to arrange the lines, and then we've got, I believe there should be a coupler just in here. Yep. So again, this one is in a nice anodized blue. Certainly not going to miss that, are you? And importantly, we've got the fitting here as well. So that's going to allow us just to screw into the filter mount, and then obviously we can just fit it there. And of course, I guess the important thing, we've got the small oil cooler as well. So we've gone for a really little one, so it should be nice to locate in the car. As you can see, it's been powder coated or painted, so it's got a really nice finish on it. So yeah, you can see it's a really nice bit of kit. Maybe I'll use that for the thumbnail. No, that was horrible. Don't do that again, Tim. So, so look, it's nice and small. It's a 10-row oil cooler, I believe. Could be 13. I'll have to double check. Yep, it's a 13-row oil cooler. It says it there, right on the box. So we're going to take the grill off and get started. Now we'll see how much space we've got behind there. Can we fit it next to the radiator? Obviously it's behind the front grill, so it will give us some really good airflow. So let's take the grill off and see what we can do. So having a look here on the Jetta, we've got this plastic shroud here, but if we were to take that off, there isn't really much room to fit this cooler. Even though it is a small little universal cooler, we're probably not going to have the space for it to go there. So I think we're going to have to put it underneath the front bumper. So when we look down here on a big bumper, you've got these sort of vents or cutouts, if you will, in the front bumper. So I think that's probably the best place to put this. I've had a look on my GTI Engineering Mark II, which was the first one I ever bought, and it's sat in a container waiting for restoration. But actually that's where GTI Engineering fitted oil coolers back in the mid 80s. So do you know what, if it's good enough for a GTI Engineering car, it's good enough for me. So we're gonna have to whip this front bumper off, and I guess while the car's up in the air, we'll drop the oil filter and drop the oil as well. We'll do an oil change while we're here. It makes sense, doesn't it? So let's get the car up in the air and get this bumper off. So with the front bumper off, we can see we've got some space down here where this will fit quite nicely. So my initial thought was to fit it here, but again, I just don't think it's gonna work. So what we're gonna do, as I say, we're gonna put it where GTI Engineering did, and we're gonna remove this. I mean, look at that, it's falling apart. So we're gonna remove that, and we'll remove the bottom part of this, and then that should fit just nicely on the bottom of the rad support. So we'll get these taken off, and then we can offer this up, and hopefully it should just bolt straight up.
Underneath the radiator.
Yeah, those go underneath the radiator, and obviously got to undo that 10mm there to take that out. So with all those bits off, this is kind of where we're going to mount the oil cooler. So we're going to have to raise it a little bit just to get a bit of better sort of airflow. But if we tried to put it under here, it would just be too low. So if you look there, chances are we're gonna run into a problem. We're gonna either catch it on something, or yeah, it's not good. It's too low. So we're gonna fit it here, and we'll just raise it up just a little bit, so we've got some good airflow to it. But I think that's pretty straightforward. So let's get on with that and see how it looks. Now, looking around the workshop for something to use to lift this up, we could have used a bit of box, but actually we've got something that fits perfectly. And if you look here, we've got these two collars. These were from actually when we fitted the Maxpeedingrods coilovers to this car. So you can see that that will lift that up just enough, but it still looks kind of cool. So we'll get those drilled out on the bottom of the radiator support. We can get some, we can get a nut and bolt through there. It's got to be a long one, and get it mounted up. Now, importantly, if we give it a wiggle, you'll see that it's nice and tight on there. So the only things that didn't come in the kit were obviously the nuts and bolts and washers and these little collars. Now, as I said, these are the collars that go in the top of your rear strut tops. So when we look at these fittings, they're AN fittings, and you see them on all the race cars for fuel lines and oil lines and everything else. And do you know what? They're really cool. I mean, these on their own are not cheap. So the fact that we've got the braided hose with the AN fittings all included in part of this kit, and it's really good quality. Obviously they're anodized blue and red. But yeah, do you know what? For the money, this kit is an absolute bargain. So it's a universal kit, but as you can see, it fits quite nicely on a Mark II Golf with not much work. So let's get these fitted and run these lines, and then, yeah, then once we've fitted the sandwich plate, it should be good to go. So the reason we're fitting the oil cooler in the first place to this is because we're going to be modifying it. So as you can see, we've done the exhaust. We're going to put a cam in it. We've put a 4-branch on there as well. So these from factory didn't come with an oil cooler. So normally where the filter bolts up to the housing, you've got like a water-cooled sort of jacket there, if you will. If that's the right thing to call it. But basically, the majority of non-GTI cars didn't have oil coolers. I'm not sure drivers might have done, but I know certainly none of my non-GTI cars have got them fitted. We don't want any overheating issues on this, especially as it's kind of a daily, it's more of a fast road daily, so I might do the odd track day in it come next year. But yeah, definitely want to get it fitted. So because it doesn't have any oil cooler, we're going to fit this sandwich plate with this thread that goes through the middle. Now, this sandwich plate, again, is a really good piece of kit. It's really well made. And as you can see, you've got takeoffs both sides for, I guess, for temperature and oil pressure as well. So again, you kind of get all of that in this sandwich plate included in the kit. So again, I'm really impressed with the quality of this kit. They didn't need to put those takeoffs in there. And do you know what? I'd never have thought about it. So let's get this oil filter off. We're going to drain the oil out of the car. It's a good time to change the oil anyway. And yeah, we'll get it fitted up. So yes, that's the oil coming out, and we'll take the filter off as well. And I mean, look at the colour of it. That's been in there a while, so we'll get that changed. So with the oil filter off, it's time to fit the sandwich plate and the coupler. Now, remember to just put a little bit of oil around the seal, just as you would when you're fitting a new oil filter anyway. So that just screws up on the bottom, and then you just, once that's on, you tighten your filter over the top of that. Now, if you don't want to mark the anodized fittings, you can get special spanners. To be honest, I wasn't really that fussed, so I just put a bit of blue painter's tape round to try and protect them from the spanner as much as I could. Right, so that's kind of it. We've got it fitted up. We've got the car top back up with oil. So as you can see, we've got the oil cooler fitted down here in the bottom of the front, or behind the bottom of the front bumper. We've run the lines up here. Now, bear in mind, this is a universal kit. So these oil lines aren't specifically for a Mark II Golf. So you've kind of got to be a bit creative in how you route them to really get rid of the length. Now, if you look here, we've routed them through here, and we've gone across the bottom there. I think, to be honest, I'm going to revisit this, and we'll probably put a bit of rubber sleeve across that, maybe a bit of old coolant pipe or some silicone hose, something I've got, just to stop that rubbing. We'll come back and we'll tidy that up. But you know what? It's a great kit for the price. Now, when you look at it, you've got the lines, you've got the cooler, you've got the sandwich plate, and yeah, do you know what? It's really easy to fit. Maybe hour and a half, 2 hours, start to finish, with an oil and filter change as well. I mean, what's not to like? It's a great kit. So let's take a last look at this, and then we'll get the bumper put on, and then we're good to go. And so that's it. That's our oil cooler fitted to the Mark II Jetta. So it's exactly the same as a Mark II Golf, obviously. So really easy job. As I said, takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I hope you enjoyed that video. I want to say a massive shout out to Maxpeedingrods for supporting the channel. Links in the description. Discount code Mark II Golf gets you 17% off, which brings this kit down to an insanely cheap price. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.